So this is Robin Wouters from TechCrunch. I'm here with the CTO of Opera Software. I'm having a little trouble pronouncing his name, so I'm just going to let him pronounce it.
Well, yeah, it's a very Norwegian name, Håkon Liumli. And as you said, I'm the CTO of Opera Software.
You're also the father of CSS. That's how you were described when you got on stage earlier today. What does it mean? What does it mean being the father of CSS?
Well, it means you have a teenager in the house. CSS is now 16 years old. I proposed CSS in 1994. And like any parent, you know, it has its joys, it has its challenges. CSS has had its ups and downs too. But right now we're seeing CSS3 emerging, which is a fantastic set of standards that will offer amazing capabilities for designers, and it will allow them to stop using many of the images they are using on the web today and send over text as text instead.
Right.
It has animation effects, you can do multi-column layouts, you can do web fonts. It's going to change how web pages are made over the next 10 to 24 months.
Why did it take 15 years for CSS3 to emerge at all?
Well, that's a good question. We had CSS1 come out in 1996 and CSS2 come out in 1998. So there was only 2 years between those. Why is it so long now? Well, around 1998, CSS started to be usable. People saw that, wow, you know, this thing can really work. So we had lots of people come to us and said, you know, the next level should have this feature, you know, or that feature, or feature X, Y, and Z. So actually CSS3, we decided to split the specification into different modules, and I think we now have on the order of 30 modules that people have been working on. Not all of those are going to succeed, but a sort of a critical mass of CSS3 specifications are now stabilizing. They're being implemented by all browsers. They're becoming available so that designers can start using them, and that's what we encourage at this stage. Start using these specifications. See if the specifications work. See if the implementations work. We want to get this right. We don't want to live through a world of, you know, bugginess like we saw in the first CSS1 and CSS2. So another answer to your question is also that we want to test things more fully before they go out the door. So there's, for example, a demand for test suite for all new CSS3 modules. That was a long answer to your question.
It's okay. So when do you think CSS3 will be polished enough to call it the final version?
Well, it's never really going to be final because there's going to be all these things on the side that haven't, you know, become part of the standard. But I would say that within this next 12 months, we're going to see like 5 or 6 very stable modules that are going to be implemented by all browsers, that are going to be usable for sure. Designers can start to depend on them. And they can also do so, they can start using these things without breaking old content. They can add, for example, rounded borders to a box. And if you don't have a browser that supports rounded borders, you're just going to see a square border. So you're not going to destroy any content.
Right.
It's just going to look slightly different. So I'd say within 12 months, we're really going to see the effect of CSS3 on the web.
Can you share your views on HTML5 and when it's going to get there?
HTML5 and CSS3, they're kind of sister-brother applications.
Right, synergetic.
Yeah, right, they work together. And many people refer to this thing that happens now as just HTML5. And that's fine, you know, CSS3 is part of that family. But they do different things. CSS does styling and HTML does the content. And also HTML does more and more become applications. So you can write applications using HTML combined with JavaScript, which is kind of the third leg here that this web platform rests on. And together you can, you know, these three things, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, designers and programmers will be able to create amazing applications that are good looking, functional, and that work even if you don't have a connection. Things like local storage in HTML will make sure that we can run web applications even when the connection falls out for a moment.
So the same question as for CSS3. Once HTML5, because one of the main criticisms is that HTML5 is far from ready at this point,
yeah.
or even polished enough to be usable in a production environment. How do you see the future of HTML5, like short term?
Well, I think you had to consider the specification as a complex organism, and parts of that specification is very mature and can be used. For example, the canvas element, the video element, I would encourage people to start using those now. There are other parts that are less mature, that are still being worked on. And we're not sure exactly what it's going to look like when it finalizes, and we don't even know when it's going to finalize. But again, I think in the next 12 months we're going to see significant part of that specifications being taken up and being used, because all browsers by now, even Internet Explorer, have started to support like the canvas element. So I would say that the web is more driven by implementations than by specifications. Very few people read the actual specifications. Right. And I think very few people on this planet have actually read the whole HTML5 specification, which is a big beast. But when it gets into the browsers and it becomes available, then designers will pick it up. And we've seen some wonderful demos being made available, and we're going to see many more pages come out over the next 12 months, I would say.
What's Opera's role as a company in this development?
Well, we try to make the web available to as many people as possible, and sometimes you will find Opera on slightly different devices than the others. We have, of course, a desktop version of Opera. You can download it from Mac, Linux, and Windows from opera.com. But you can also run Opera on your phone, and not just on the latest, greatest, most expensive phone. You can run Opera on just about any mobile phone there is. Opera Mini is a fantastic service that compresses pages, that encodes it in an optimized format and sends it across to a small application running in the browser. Sorry, on the phone. So we have, in the fixed network, we have a server farm. On the phones, we have a small application called Opera Mini, and they talk together over an optimized protocol. And therefore, we can make the web available to people in places that you wouldn't expect. People that have just, basic network, mobile phone connectivity. Maybe they pay for their data plans, on a per kilobyte level. We compress it, we make it affordable, and we run on the phones that they have already. These people often in places, Bangladesh is on the top 20 list, Indonesia at the top of the list. In many of these places, people don't have PCs. The PC penetration is low, but the mobile phone penetration is actually quite good. And they can use just about any mobile phone now and run Opera Mini and get access to the web.
Right.
So our mission in life is to give people a better internet experience on any device there is.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.